This is Hot Mike.
Hot Mike.
On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
I think just like Dom's outfit, they're not always pretty. Sometimes they're really ugly. But
Just been all over Amazon and just about every site looking for these mustard pants. And
my wife will tell you she wants to burn mine.
People actually listen to your show.
They watch.
They
Yeah, I
watch
told
it.
you, yeah.
play defense in that first half like Dom transitions to you after the game. It's way too long, way too lazy. But
You got all these answers. I'm going to bring you over and have you do our non-conference schedule.
I'd love to. I'd love to go to Grand Canyon,
I would
man.
love.
Hey,
well,
you're
you
doing
can
that
come with.
game.
That's not the thing.
I love when you're on Dom. You're so transparent. And I'm like, so two things are happening. That one, people are watching your show,
Yes,
listening.
yes.
Right? That
Yep.
caught me a little off guard. I'm just being honest.
Here it is. You get to see it in person. The man is here. After you bump McFeely out, Dave Richman joins us, NDSU men's basketball head coach, as the Bison opened practice yesterday. So a belated Happy New Year. Ready to rock and roll. Good to see you.
Yeah. Either McFeely's got a small head or I got a big head because I had to
Adjust the
I had to
headphones there?
adjust the headphones quite a bit.
It's great to see it. Now, we did not stay to get video evidence of you in the swing off a couple weeks ago on the softball complex. How did that go?
That's a great thing that you guys did not
I was
stay.
upset. I wanted Sam to stay up there and get some video of you in that.
I was just actually just on my way up here today. I was just talking to Darren Mueller about it, and I'm like, did I finish last in that? He's like, no, you didn't finish last. I'm like, oh, good deal.
Who was last? Can we
I didn't
can we
ask-
divulge that?
I didn't ask, and I didn't even ask if I was second to last. All I cared about was I wasn't last. And in Jerice, and she told me going into it, so I can't blame her.
When's the last time you actually swung a baseball, softball bat?
Exactly.
I'm curious on that.
Yeah. Well, they have this juice bat.
Oh,
And she told me about it the whole time, and I'm going to be Mr. Hero. I'm going to go up with the regular bat. That didn't work. So the last 3 or 4 swings, I swung the juice one, and there's a reason why they call it the juice bat. But like the irony of all that is like of all the days the wind was blowing in, not a huge wind, but like I need some more self-confidence. Okay, Mother Nature, put that thing behind me.
it's a big week, obviously. You start practice this week. It's homecoming. How much for your basketball team, because this football gets a lot of lion's share, you involved with homecoming stuff and being
Football started?
evidently something's going on with that you're integrated with your team to make sure you're involved with the festivities going on this week.
I think that's the part that you don't want it to be lost, right? I mean, we are in new day and age, and in a lot of transformational transparency, and guys coming and going and all that. But I still go back to one of the many things I learned from Tim Miles was the legacy piece, and just having a deep-rooted respect and understanding. Matt Larson talks a lot about Bison pride, Bison spirit. And to get that really that feeling, it was really cool for us a couple weeks ago because 14 guys, I can't tell you how many of them really never experienced the fall recruiting process and tailgating and Bison football and just that awesome traditional feel of what NDSU was about. I mean, it is a real traditional college. This isn't an urban commuter school and things like that. Like the weekends around a home fall football, and in particular now this coming weekend with homecoming, are great. And so, we're going to take every opportunity we can to entrench ourselves with those things.
I know last year was a big deal because Woody and Winkleman were going into the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame, that you got everybody back together, which was a really neat deal. Brian Sandform, basketball stud, is going to go in this weekend to the Athletic Hall of Fame. So we're looking at video of practice. It's so different now, I think, for fans, Dave, that don't know that you get time with these guys, because I was up there with you in July. Can you dissect that, of how much time you get during the summer with them, that it's not like day one, I haven't seen any of these guys since last March?
Yeah, no, it's a lifestyle, Dom. It really is. And the quickest, best way I can sum it up is spring, summer, and fall are pretty much identical. And when I say that is spring, summer, and fall, we get 8 hours with them a week. And 4 of those hours, no matter what, I don't care if you're coming in here at 24, 25, whatever, 37, who knows what ages we're going to at this day and age. But this is always going to be a developmental program. And so spring, summer, and fall, the priority is really set by Coach Miller and what they're doing in the strength and conditioning, nutrition piece of that. And then we'll feed off of that anywhere from 3 to 4 to 5 hours of basketball ball in hand. But you're right. In the summer now we can have 8 hours, or 8 weeks with them. We only use 7. It's extremely beneficial for us. I think we spend the first 3 weeks of removing name tags and figuring out who can do what. And then, the back half of the summer, we kind of ramped it up a little bit into who we think we're going to be, who we want to be. A couple weeks off, we slowly entered, this fall, that first week or so. But then, we've been going, probably 2-3 days a week with practices. And then, officially we started. And I told the guys Sunday night before we got going, especially the freshmen, they've got this nervous anxiety. What is practice going to be? I'm like, hey, gentlemen, this isn't going to be anything really different than you've been doing. It's just now about it's going to be every day, maybe a little bit longer, and just trying to get them to wrap their head around those things.
I always appreciate your transparency on the show. I'm interested the conversation you had with Damari Wheeler-Thomas, because last year he opted a redshirt. He was not healthy. Mm-hmm. Can you give us the background on the conversations there of him deciding to come back? Because I at least from what I had heard, that maybe he might decide to opt out and maybe leave. Can you give us the backstory on that?
I never necessarily heard the leave part. And again, I'm not sitting here Dom naive to that, but him and I never really got specific with that. Now he being all the guys, there's conversations going on all the time. There's agents, there's sharks, there's snakes, whatever you want to call them. But Damari, coming into us before he even played, had a very, very traumatic injury where the young man's got a rod.
He shattered his leg, right?
Almost. He's got a rod put in there, and he went about it. In fairness to him, that first year, really, I mean, his first real. Even before practice was at Kansas, right? Like what an eye-opening experience, and he handled that well. And I thought he had a very good sophomore year, but I think some of it too was just some mental hurdles and roadblocks that he was going through. Of he would feel this pain or that pain or this soreness, and then you start to go back down that rabbit hole of do I have something going on? And out of all the things, do I want him to play? Do I want him not to play? Like it is so important for us to have trust. Damari to trust me and me to trust Damari. And the last thing I'm going to do is put somebody out there that doesn't trust themselves in those situations. Yeah. And he was very transparent about that. And maybe a little bit, especially now that we do have him back, a blessing in disguise. Damari has got to become a better basketball player. He's got to shoot the basketball a little bit better, find different ways to get other people involved. And for him to kind of step back a little bit, take a 30-foot view as the season was going on, I think he learned a lot. His shot is a lot quicker. He's not hesitating on some of those things. He's still got to shoot it at a better percentage. He's done a good job now of, our offense is going to be back-to-back now with the same kind of concepts that we did last year, so he's got a better feel for that. He's an elite athlete. He's an elite competitor. He's an elite young man, so all those things defensively. But again, Dom, too, I'll say this in fairness to Damari, like I'm always going to support our guys' happiness. When you can make 7 figures, when you can make 6 figures,
that's real, correct? From what you're hearing from some players that are getting that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I say, I don't know if people believe me. You're in it, so that's what that's what players are getting.
It's not. I would say numbers and I would say names, but that's not fair to that name. Yeah. The number would be fair. I have zero problem saying that, but I don't want to. And these are guys that just left as Bison. Yep. Okay. So that is real. And we talk about it. You talk about transparency. We talk even in the recruiting process now, Dom. Like we talk about after the season, there's going to be 3 conversations that are going to happen. Okay. And I think I probably told you this, Dom. We just. Based on X, Y, and Z, we don't think you're trending as a Bison. It's time for you to move on. How can we help you? Dom, we think you're trending as a healthy Bison, a Summit League competitor. We see a future for you here developing with us. There's probably some now as we're moving forward, there's some compensation things that we can work towards here. Hey, let's hope and want you to stay. And then that third piece is hey, Dom, you're just too damn good. In my right mind as a father and as a coach, it's not right for you to stay here. And that's just it. I got into it like this is who I am. I'm an idiot. But one of our high school kids that we've got committed right now, I got into it with his dad. And he's like, you've got him for 4 years. And I just said, stop. No, he's like, no, I don't like this and the loyalty. Okay, I said, stop. I said, say your son comes in here and just hypothetically starts for 2 years, and after his second year, someone's going to pay him $500,000. And you can just see on the other end the dad go, oh. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about, right? And so I've made a choice. I'm gonna love these guys. I'm gonna serve them. I'm gonna discipline them. I'm gonna hold them accountable as long as they're with us, and that's in life, in the classroom, and on the court. But I'm not naive, Dom. And again, like I hate this, but it's part of it. Is some of these things are starting to happen to Bison football. And you and I've said this.
We've done this road before. Yeah.
I think it wakes up some people too. Like and when you're playing, our staff is playing pickup noon ball with some of the football assistants, right? I'm sure that's real good basketball, and they're like, "Oh, this has got to change," and agents and all this, and Jones is looking at these guys going, "Yeah, welcome to our world."
Right,
the last
what we've been
3
dealing
years.
with for a while
so,
on that.
I'm not into excuses, right?
Nope.
We need to roll out on November 3rd a product that's going to be competing for Summit League championships. How we get there, who we do it with, is going to be a little bit different. But I'm gonna challenge you and all the listeners. You hear this, oh, it's hard. Well, life is hard, okay? And this isn't going anywhere. And there's 4 things that haven't changed and will never change: the N, the D, the S, and the U. So you want to get behind something, get behind a department, a program, a university that does things the right way with the right people.
I'm interested. I think you told Sam Getzinger this yesterday when he was up at practice that the way you played last year isn't necessarily going to be the way you play this year with the 3-point, the bombs away Bison kind of deal. That was how we built the team in 24-25. The 25-26 team may look vastly different. I think defensively you want to look vastly different than you did last year.
Yeah, and that's been the fun part for me. It really has. It's been uncomfortable, right?
So you're building it every year differently, correct?
And I mean it now. Are we going to throw the ball up the floor and play in the first 7 seconds of a shot clock offensively? Maybe once in a while, but not consistently. Are we going to go and trap, or are we going to or press or play zone for 40 minutes? No. But like offensively, you will see the same scheme, but now you're putting in different parts to that scheme. The Jimmies and the Joes have changed a little bit, and so we got to find ways to play to those strengths, and it looks very similar right now. We need to see how some guys are going to be able to execute and shoot it, and under the lights and some of those things. What you will see a big difference is defensively.
You weren't happy with that last year.
I was not happy with that. No, but also it's a day and age where, and this is my opinion, and people can listen. I think the individual basketball player is better. Right, there is so much playing, there is so much individual workout coaches and all those things that guy is better. Now, I don't necessarily believe the game is better. There's not a whole bunch of multiple pass possessions. There's not a whole bunch of different guys touching it and those things. So, we're going to make a conscious effort to go get you a little bit and be more active. And I do anticipate a little bit our offense could take a step back. I mean, we were elite last year, top 5 in the country. But so we've got to find different ways to get back to there. I think part of that will be, can our defense create some offensive opportunities for us?
Let's break. We come back. I want to talk a little bit more about the construct of the team and the schedule. You're literally talking schedule with me. I know that. We'll do that on the other side of the break. Much more on Hot Mic. Dave Richman in studio. We're back after this. All right, welcome back. Dave Richman joining us here in studio. Fair warning here, 2 weeks from today, we're in Sioux Falls, so we're going to do this again. Do you know that?
Media day?
Yeah. I hate to ruin your schedule or your day already, but we're going to do this again in a couple weeks' time.
Anytime I can spend more time with you, Dom.
I knew you were going to say that.
This is not ride together. I don't need
Boy,
that.
though, that would be a deal. So last time you were here, you had almost the whole roster was done. You had to add a couple more. You did. You added a guy from Finland. Give me Emil Skuta's backstory and how did it, because he played the last couple of years at Sacramento State. How did you get him to come to Fargo?
So, and then Wes just told me, ironically, yesterday, this is the first international kid that I've coached here too. Again, you talk about the uncomfort and all that, but it's been great. Emil is not. From my perspective, it's not like this is his first year,
right?
On U.S. territory.
Yeah, this is his third different college basketball team.
Correct. But it's just happen chance. It's the portal, and Josh Jones, doing his homework, and really, really excited about Emil. And I think Emil is excited about us, where you have an unbelievably athletically gifted young man. I mean, looks like $1 million, can jump out of the gym, can move really well. Had an opportunity to play in the university games for Finland, his home country, really cool. But yet, what Emil can bring some of those things to us, and it's kind of like our premise of our program is servant leadership. We want to make you better, right? So you can make us better, vice versa. Well, if Emil's smart, which he is, there's a lot of little details that he can become a better basketball player with. He needs to shoot it better. He needs to take better care of the ball. He needs to understand some things defensively, some concepts there. And so what we can't teach, size, length, athleticism, he brings. What we can teach, some of the skills that he doesn't have yet, and you blend that together. It's going to take him some time.
Yeah.
Markai Strickland is another one of those guys. I mean, an absolute Trayvon Wright freak athlete, Dom. Wait till you see this young man. And the length, the guard, so many positions, and be so active, and he is going to live on the rim, right? Dale's going to be needing to paint those rims all the time from Markai. But yet goes 1,000,000 miles an hour, and just some things like that. And so it's been fun. You can start to see little moments in practice now from these guys, and they're picking it up on, and that's all we ask.
And he actually, Scuda went to Central Michigan with Max Marley.
Yeah.
Which is crazy that they were together.
But that's awesome, too.
Yeah.
That sped it up. That makes the click point for me. Jones is like, hey, I'm recruiting this kid, and you're starting to do the vetting process. You're going through it, and all of a sudden, hey, he was roommates with Max.
Yeah.
Boom. Now I can call Max.
Yep.
Like, we can tell from the most part what kind of basketball player they are.
You can evaluate that.
Correct.
Yeah.
You can look at numbers.
Yep.
You can look at all kinds of video and all those things. But as you know me, like from yesterday until hopefully deep into March, I'm going to be with these guys pretty much 24/7. And I'm not going to be around a lot of Jack, what. And so we want to vet that, right? We want to make sure they're good people, good citizens. They're going to bring Bison pride to our program. And Emil, Markai, Max, they all do those things to a high level.
I'm interested when you look at how they construct this. When did you get a sense now you've done this for the portal of adding guys? Because Mike and I were talking before you came on with football coaches are saying, well, it used to be 3 games we knew. Now it's about 5 or 6. In basketball, when did you get a sense, okay, I know what kind of team I have?
Yeah, I always say, Miles used to talk about a junior college kid. You're going to get about 1.5 years out of a junior college kid. I go back to last year where we get beat at Bakersfield, and I left that game going.
The game you had a pretty good lead in late in that game too.
And then we go to Santa Clara, and we're getting our butts kicked. But you can start to see some things, and you can ask Josh Jones this. I turned over and I said, and I thought we were going to get beat at the time. And I said, buddy, I think we're getting closer. I can kind of feel it. And he's like, yep, coach, I know exactly what you mean. They're trying, they're bought into these things. And, we flipped that one. And obviously, we went on. But I would even, that's a long number for football. 5 games trying to figure who you are.
Yeah.
I would say that 6 to 8 game mark is really, even now, Dom, we've got 14 kids on the roster. There's 12 of them that we are going to really, really have a pretty good idea that we're going to be vetting for the next 42 days. That I think in some way, shape, or form could contribute. 12 is too much of a number, right, to play. So, I would assume, by X time, we're going to be 8-9-man rotation. That's good. That's a really cool. I challenged the guys Sunday night again. I said we need to be healthy, desperate competitors. You need to look at these guys in the room and say, hey, these are my teammates, but these are also my brothers. And brothers fight a little bit. They compete against each other. And, when you have a healthy environment of that, man, that's development, that's growth.
We picked a couple spotlight games on the schedule. We're going to bring up a graphic here of who you got. You're opening with Oregon State. How did that come about? Wayne Tinkle for a bit?
I've not really known Wayne, and in fact, I've never really spoken to him. I didn't speak to him. Jonesy handles the scheduling, and so it's.
So when he comes to you with Oregon State, how would you feel about that one?
Yeah, but yes, and I say yes right away because we need damn games.
I know you do.
And that's part of it. I still go back to when Luke Strachey got back here a couple years ago. He's like, and we're talking scheduling with him, and he's like, we need to schedule some wins. I'm like, Luke, we need to make a schedule here, and I think he's found that out a little bit too. But there's some parameters of. You want to play a high major. We need some money games, so this is one of those, and the dates work. There's just so many things that go into scheduling, and I've heard it, right? You're not playing Duke, Carolina, Louisville, and Kentucky in the first week, and all those things. Like trust me, like some of those people just told us no. Right.
Yes.
And then you just can't afford, from a budget standpoint, from a guarantee standpoint, to do those things, and it's just all part of scheduling.
Southern Illinois coming here is a big deal because for basketball fans that know the Missouri Valley Conference, they don't go on the road to other mid-majors.
Yeah, and I'm going to pound my fist here, Dom. Like, this is a really big freaking game.
Yeah.
And people need to get behind this. Yep. And you can say, let's separate some things here. Southern Illinois football and how Bison football has beat them. Okay, but this is different.
Yep.
I have a pretty good idea of what their NIL budget is. I have a pretty good idea of what the Missouri Valley is. Right. And this is a big game. Like, people wanting us to get K-State back or whatever. Like, hey, help us out. Give us $150,000, $200,000, and we'll do those things. But because of our location, because of our successes, because of some of these, it's really hard to get these quality opponents. And you could probably ask Scott Nagy if it was his choice when we took this game, he wouldn't be coming at all.
Nope.
We followed up and tried to get Illinois State back, a team that had beat us twice in a row. They're like, yeah, you're on the list, but you're way down the list. So, we need to get more butts in the seats, Dom.
Yep.
And
how I feel about that.
I'm adamant about these things, and I'm sick and tired of hearing about different excuses. And everybody's got an excuse. Like, let's get behind this group. This is a really fun group. I hope you hear that in my voice, but I also I hope you hear the challenge, the encouragement to come out and be part of a beautiful facility, a great product. There's all kinds of the beers and the burgers and the hot dogs. There's a lot of things, and marketing and we have another meeting tomorrow. We're to get some student section stuff going and to do some things like that. But man, we need some butts in the seats, and we need some people actually, I take that back. We need some feet in the shields. I don't want people with the butts in the seats.
You want to stand them up.
We don't want spectators. We want fans.
Well, and Jory saw that, and I'm sure you did as well. The WNIT run, that place was packed. It was great. It was loud, and that's what you've experienced that at certain times as well. It can be loud. It can be a great environment in that building.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it can be a great environment. It needs to be a great environment. And I understand, this is an epidemic across the college basketball, mid-majors, and we go to a lot of gyms. But, listen, I'm not into excuses.
Yeah.
And I need to be better. We all need to be better. But we need to be creative and figure out ways to engage and get people to a game. And then, the term I heard is create an atmosphere, create an experience worth repeating.
Yeah.
So every time we play a game, there's probably going to be somebody new there. How do we engage that person enough to bring them back and come back and you get something special rolling?
I do have to ask on the
I
conversation.
Sound like Tim Paul's
it was pretty
right
good.
Now, don't
that was
I?
pretty good.
Yeah.
The conversation you had with Hendo on the Drake game, how did that go on getting that game on the schedule?
So it started with Clink.
Yeah.
We were recruiting this summer. He's like, no. And I said, Rob, listen, you don't want to play us. We don't want to play you. But same thing, right?
Yep.
They need to play.
They need a game.
They need to play games. And then all of a sudden.
Tell me they're coming here. Can you make that happen?
No, I can't. They're paying us to go there.
All right, that's good. You know what?
Yep.
That's good. You got to have those too.
Yep. So then Clink followed up and he said, hey, do you still have X date? I said, yeah. And I said, where are you at? He goes, listen, I'm not going to mess around. And in fact, it really bent because we were going back and forth with this team that said, yes, we're in. Then they would never send again, this is just full transparency of scheduling. Like, we had committed to school X. All right, send us a contract. We're ready to roll. Well, they never sent us. They said we're in, but they never sent a contract. So the thing happened. I said, all right, Hendo, Clink, let's do this. But send it now. And he goes, yep. Part of it helps because there's a relationship there. There's trust. And then all of a sudden that other school follows back up. We're like, no.
We got something. Yeah.
And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, you can't sit
got
around
lost
and
in the mail, right? Yeah. Last thing, by the way, I wasn't expecting to spend my New Year's Eve with you, but that's the conference opener with South Dakota, so that'll be awesome. We get to ring in the new year together.
I can't wait to hear your New Year's resolutions.
Nobody likes to hear that.
Yeah.
We got to roll. Another former Bison's coming on. Steve Lockway's coming on here.
Steve Lock, he's doing a great job over there.
Pretty good. The
He's
Dragons
great.
are
I know
doing
they
a
had a
good
tough
job.
one on
Yep.
Saturday, but I'm a big fan of Steve and his family.
It's great to see you, man. Thanks as always for doing this. I think our viewers love having you on. Can we do an on-air production meeting? Can we get you back again for your weekly visits during the season?
Let's go.
Can we commit to that?
I'm in.
Let's
I'm
do
in.
it.
I'm in. I'm
All
in.
right.
Appreciate you, brother.
Bam. Dave Richman
look at
joining
that.
us here in studio. We will see him in 2 weeks' time down in Sioux Falls for Summit League Media Day. We'll break. Our guy Steve Lockway coming up. Dragons got a biggie with Duluth. We'll preview that when we come back after this.